So I bet y'all are hungry for a continuation, because I am too. I am too. So, we had break time. Break time's over, folks. Break time's over. If you want to recap, let's recap. Weena's a dragon and everything's gone insane. Good, great, awesome. Let's get to it, folks, because that's only the first 9 minutes. Get ready for the other 13. So yeah, let's I mean, in the words of like every YouTuber, let's get into it. Let's jump into it. Also, this episode's gonna be a little scuffed because I'm recording this upstairs, like on a bed. Okay. Assuming you can hear me, let's do this. So, okay, I gotta do this more comfortably. But how? Trying to think. Over here, maybe? Maybe if I just sit. Hold on. We're getting places, folks. Just gonna have to give me a second. Just gonna have to give me a minute. Alright. I think I'm good now. So, like I was saying. This is, yeah, like I was saying. Okay, so, like I said, Weena's now a dragon, and, she's now a dragon. She pushes Belle back into the main hall of Knossos. Dix is ecstatic, and Fel says, "Is that Ween and break?" So, now we're after the break. Okay. Ween screams. Dix asks Belle if he can still say what he said earlier with just as much confidence. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Yeah. The whole what he said earlier was, just as a recap, what he said earlier was, at least they can laugh and cry like we do. That's what he said earlier. Yeah, if he can still say what he said earlier, with just as much confidence. And he asks Belle that, as Belle kneels on the ground, afterward getting slapped away by Ween's tail. Dix says they're just monsters, the enemy of humanity. Monsters. Monsters, you've nearly been killed by them. Monsters, you've nearly been killed by them, right? And then tells Belle to open his eyes and come to this side. You know, the dark side of sorts. And then Belle, beaten up, tries to walk to Ween in an attempt to tame her, I think, but is slapped to the side again by Ween, which is just, man, Belle is just getting all sorts of beat up, like holy sh. He gets up again, determined to tame Ween. Dix tells Belle to kill the monsters, kill them all. To kill the monsters, kill them all. While Belle continues to walk towards Ween, and Ween reacts differently. Instead of slapping him away, she screams Belle as she slams her right hand on Belle's left shoulder, injuring him. Like, she really just slams. Like, remember, she's a dragon now. She got some very large hands and very large claws. And so she just slaps it like this, like that loud on his shoulder, but with a lot more blood. And it injures him, but still standing tall, he says, "It's all right," and then smiles at her, saying, "Everything is all right." And then I'm like, that's my boy right there. Oh my gosh. Just a little bit of a thing, folks. This is probably going to be the only wholesome moment in the entire episode that you're seeing, so enjoy it while it lasts. Ween then remembers the scene in episode 1 of the season where Ween hurt him, but said everything was all right. And I oh yeah, but he said everything is all right, and while that flashback happens, I'm crying as she in the present cries as Belle says, "I'm right here." And she says in a weakening voice, "Belle." Decent and all else are surprised. Ween throws Belle to the side and starts crying loudly. So, even though this whole doing all these notes and whatnot, and the whole experience of taking the notes really takes me away from watching the episode, what I found myself doing more is that I rewatch. So I watch the whole episode, and then I rewatch it for the notes. And so I actually got to experience a lot of the second act, genuinely. And oh my god, guys, the second when I saw that Ween had remembered that and all that kind of stuff, dude, I almost started tearing up. I mean, I said I was crying, but I was tearing up. I wasn't full blown crying, but I was. Oh my god, dude, it's such an emotional moment. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, Dix and all else are surprised. Ween throws Belle to the side and starts crying loudly, and then I'm like, "Oive." So then after that, rightfully so, Dix is pissed off. Well, not rightfully so, but Dix is pissed off by what's happened and says Belle's a complete disappointment. Which is yeah, I mean he is. In the eyes of an adventurer, he's a bit of a disappointment. But actually there's no but there. Belle and Dix then continue to fight. This time Belle getting much stronger. Dix rants about how Belle's knife was made to slit Ween's belly, and how and why save monsters when there's no value, honor, or duty in that. And I want to talk about that. Why? That's something interesting. Because here's what I find interesting, right? Here's what I find really interesting about this season. And we're going to talk about this for a minute. The main character, the main villain, right, of the season isn't some giant monster, isn't a goddess. It's not like a relic called the Killing Stone. It doesn't involve a ritual. It doesn't, it's not like a full-blown attack of Ivalis. It's not insane. It's not crazy, right? The main villain of the season is an everyday adventurer. And that's the thing, right? Of course he's not, as we learned on, he's not an everyday adventurer, because he's freaking ancestor of Daedalus and all this kind of stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, Dix Perdix is just an adventurer. Is just an adventurer hunting monsters, killing monsters, and selling them off for monetary value. So then he and his folks and his familia can all eat, or can live another day, can continue to build Knossos. And in the eyes of an adventurer who does not care about monsters and who does nothing but kill monsters, like they're basically destined to do, or they're meant to do, is fine with them. That is completely normal. That is completely normal to adventurers. Of course, adventurers probably won't agree with, they probably won't agree with torturing. Actually, no, they would. But, even though a lot of adventurers won't torture monsters, if a monster is attacking somebody and then thereafter was being tortured, then I think they just find that normal. And so, the grand scheme of things, Dix Perdix despite, yes, he is a villain, despite, you know, like, he is a villain, he's killing Xenos, you know, he's selling Xenos for monetary value, you know, all that kind of stuff. Although that makes him a villain, and the fact that, you know, he's like gone insane. At the end of the day, if you remove the insanity, like if you remove the fact that he's a dataless ancestor, if you remove the fact that like that he has to build Knossos, well, that's a part of that. If you remove the fact that, you know, that Xenos aren't a thing, and that all monsters are just, you know, that all monsters can't talk and don't have any intelligence, then in the grand scheme of things, Dix Perdix is just a normal person in normal Deorario. And or normal adventure in normal Deorario, in present Deorario. And so it's really interesting to see that kind of adventurer, to see that an adventurer be the real villain of this. And, you know, it's surprising, but it's also not surprising, because not all adventurers are good, and we know this, you know, from Lily's story, you know, the adventurers she banded with in Soma Familia, they were real dickheads to her. And, some adventurers, like who? What other adventurers were a bit of bits? Like Mord with Belle in season 1, like he wasn't a really friendly Folkerino, you know? Like, not all adventurers are good, and not all adventurers are bad. Just like how not all humans are good, and just like how not all humans are bad, and not all humans are good. In the grand scheme of things here. So, my point is here, when he says, why save monsters when there's no value, honor, or duty? That's really interesting, because that line shows, there might have been other lines prior to that he had said, but that shows that despite him having gone insane, that despite this, that despite that, at heart, he is an adventurer. At the end of the day, he sees monsters as monsters. And, like, no matter if they can talk, if they can cry, if they can laugh, at the end of the day, they're just monsters to him. And that's how monsters are to every adventurer. And so, the crazy thing is that I feel like now that I'm reading through all the notes and whatnot, I realize that Dix is a normal person in a lot of aspects that, if you move some things here and there, is. And that's just terrifying. But it's funny, because, you know, it's hard to imagine that, like, well, it's not hard to imagine, but it's crazy to imagine that, you know, an adventurer like Belle, who like just killed monsters, like, you know, they were just an everyday thing, actually now cares for a specific type of monster, cares for the Xenos, you know? And it's just, it's really interesting, because it's very, this is more of a, this season is, I feel like this season's going to turn into more of a war of ideals. And I think I mentioned that, like, a battle or a war of ideals. Because in the grand scheme of things, both sides of the argument, like, oh yeah, there's certain monsters that shouldn't be killed, and there's certain monsters that should be killed, or all monsters should be killed no matter what. Like, there's a major divide. There's going to be a major divide, and it's going to be a major thing, because both sides, in their own right, are correct. And that, folks, is what's going to tear apart Belle and Aes's friendship. Hey, let's continue the episode. So yeah, why save monsters when there's no value, honor, or duty in that? And dude, the next scene that happens after this is super cool. Dix then strikes his spear to Belle. When Belle, like the legend he is, cuts the blade off, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Dix, surprised. Belle then, Dix surprised. I can't speak. Alright, so Dix is surprised, and then Belle then says, when you're saving someone, it doesn't matter if they're human or a monster. If they're asking for help, that's more than enough. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you. Oh my god, that is so that's just beautiful. Anyway, so then after that, Fells, after hearing that, says, Belle Cornell, you are a, and then is interrupted by Dix, who says, you're a hypocrite. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, and continues to attack Belle, saying, you're not a rabbit at all. So this is I forget how many interesting little things there is here. So Dix then says, you're not a rabbit at all. You're a filthy bat. And I'm like, is that what people are going to call him now? Is that what people are going to call him now? They're not going to call him a white rabbit. Are they going to be calling him a filthy bat? Because that's a pretty sick name. I mean, I don't know about you, but Season 3 Belle? Not White Rabbit? But instead a filthy bat? And I actually see it. I actually see it, because it's like, if you look at him, if you look at him in the intro, like him facing Aes, the man's really do be looking like a filthy bat. But in like a badass way. You're looking like Hollow Knight over here. Anyway. You're looking like Hollow Knight. So yeah. After he says that, Dix pushes him against the wall, saying, this is so boring. This is so boring. You're just a kid lacking in brains. and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. I mean, Belle has some brains, but like, yeah, he is a bit of a oblivious sometimes. I don't know. He's a bit of a risk taker, if you will. But then Dix says that, and then almost kills Belle, when you probably didn't guess it, Lid attacks. Lid! Lid, that one Xenos that's under Dix's spell called frickin' Phobiter Daedalus? Yeah. Lid attacks not another Xenos, but Mr. Perdix. And I'm like, hell yes, finally! Also, give me a second, because I'm going to need some water for the continuation of this, because this is a lot. I mean, folks, I don't know if you know this, but this is it's a lot of reading. It's a lot of oof and ife. And, oh yeah, by the way, I still haven't watched episode 8, so, like, I'm very excited that after I record this episode, after I record this episode, I'm going to take, like, an hour break, depending on what time it is. After I finish this, I'm gonna have a little break for myself. I'm gonna have a little break, because I know that the review for episode 8 is gonna be a real messy one and a really fun one at the same time. So yeah, we'll see how that works. But anyway, I'm gonna get myself a water, because I'm very, very thirsty, and I also probably gonna need an Advil because my back hurts like crap. Anyway, I'll be right back. So, continuing. Lid attacks, and the reason why Lid attacks, because remember, Lid is under Phobita or frickin' Daedalus, which is, like, supposed to have him fight the other monsters and fight the other monsters and be distracted and not fight the hunters. But now, he's basically snapped out of it because, and this is what he says that Belle's speech brought him to break himself from Dix's spell. Dix, surprised and ticked off. This makes Dix ticked off and surprised, and both Lid and Belle begin taking down Dix, slashing him up as the other hunters continue fighting. One of them getting their head sliced open by Gross with a battle axe, which is like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? Anyway, so that's another gory moment of the episode. Someone's head just gets sliced open. Still in shock as he sees this. So the guy whose head got split in half, but not really because he's still moving. He's still in shock as he sees the Xenos overtaking the hunters. Belle and Lid continue to beat up Dix until Belle hits him with one final punch using Aragonot into the wall. Dude, that whole fighting scene with Belle and Lid versus Dix. Dude, they went ham on him. It was such a good battle. It was short, but it was so good. Anyway, so he hits him into the wall with Aragonot, and then right after that, the curse that had been put on the Xenos was now gone. Phobita Daedalus was now gone, and I'm like, is Dix Perdix dead? Like, I was thinking, like, wait a minute, is he dead now? Does that mean he's dead? And I'm like, no. Can't be that easy, right? Right? Well, here's what happened. No. It's not that easy. Because though Lid says they did it, Belle doesn't feel too certain. Dix then gets up, very weak, but despite this state he's in, Lid and Belle don't fully engage, and instead, so they actually do engage. So let me explain. So Dix is really weak. He just got up. And Lid is like, all right, let's get him. And so Lid actually engages, but he doesn't engage all the way. Because Dix, we learn that Dix, if they fully engage, if they try to hit him once, he's gonna break VII's magic stone. And I'm like, please don't, Lid, I think you need to back off. And then I'm like, he better not. And then he says, if you want, I'll give it to you. And I'm like, oh, please give it to me. And then I thought he wasn't going to give it to them, but, like, stupidly, he actually did. He threw her magic crystal. Dix threw VII's magic crystal, or magic stone, as far as he could. But thankfully, Belle saved it off of a cliff or a high platform. And Belle was actually going to fall from that high cliff or platform, and was thankfully saved by Lid. After this, Dix is excited, standing next to VII as she continues to cry. And as she dude, this scene is like, I really gotta feel bad for VII. I gotta feel bad for VII this episode, because she's just being played with right now. Alright, and you're gonna see why. So, she's crying, she's at her weakest. And as she's crying and whatnot, Dix stands next to her and he prepares another magic, saying, "Lose your way in an unending illusion," which shocks VII, turning her eyes color to magenta. The spell basically makes her see Belle illusions, and is distracted by him and his clones. And I'm like, where is this going? Because it was a very interesting, like, it was a very just weird thing to bring out there. Like, why Belle clones? I don't get it. Like, obviously, Ween could tell the difference between a Belle in front of her and, you know, the actual Belle, but I guess she couldn't. And this is where stuff gets rough. When suddenly, so she's distracted by all these little bells that are just, like, appearing all around her. When suddenly, Dix opens up the door behind her, revealing another Belle, which she goes to, going through the door. So so here's the thing. When I thought, oh, he's opening the door and is going to distract her with Belle, so then he can close the gate and then kill her. And I was so worried that was going to be the case. I didn't put that in the notes, but I was so worried that it was going to be the case. And I'm so glad that it wasn't. So yeah, what happened is that another Belle appeared behind the huge gate door. And then Ween followed a Belle. And Dix, so assumably she followed Belle and the doors kept on opening as she went through, following more and more and more illusions of Belle. And usually it would be like, but why? Why do that? Like what? But then we learned this right after. Dix then says to Belle, after he runs to the door, beyond this point is a straight shot to the surface. And I'm like, uh-oh, shit, this is no bueno. This is no bueno, senor. Fels then goes to attack Dix, but Dix says not to worry about him, and worry about Ween instead, as he runs away. Which is like, oh, come on. Oh, this is so sad. We didn't get him. We didn't get him, boys. We didn't get him. We'll try next time, but we still have more stuff to do this time. So, anyway. He runs away, and the large door closes. Belle says he's going to save Ween. Fels tells Lid that he'll live. Fels tells Lid that he'll leave the rest to him as he runs after Belle to heal his wounds. After Fels runs after Belle, and after Belle, runs to follow Ween up to the surface, the surviving Xenos from the greener side of Floor 18 then comes storming in, joining up with Lid and Gross's group. We learn that the big boy Minotaur left the Xenos after saving them. Gross tells them that they let Dix escape and decide with whoever isn't hurt to head in and help Belle and Ween, since they saved him. And there was also a quip about if Gross now trusts humans. And he's a tsundere and says no. Ray says, you can't be straightforward. You can't be straightforward, can't you? And that's all I really have to say there. What I don't understand is that if they're gonna... What I didn't get from their conversation is if they were going to help Belle save Ween, or if they were going to go after Dix Perdix. I didn't get which one. I didn't get that. But I'm assuming they're going to help Belle, which if that's the case, dude, I mean, you'll just see. So, continuing. Continuing. Fels then heals all of Belle's wounds using his power called Dia Panacea. Which, it's just... I love the names of things in this show. Anyway, Belle thanks him and just instantly runs up the stairs to where I'm assuming will be Daedalus Street. We then move over to the guy who got his head cut open and is like very weaky, not weaky, but really weak, like weakly walking through the tunnels. And is really pissed off. Is really pissed off at the Xenos and whatnot. That's understandable. If I was him, I mean, I'd be pretty pissed off if if a Xenos cut my head open, I would be pretty mad. I mean, I'd be pretty mad. Hold on, man. We're reaching the end of the episode soon. But even though I say that, like we saw a while to go, because we're about to finish the 5th page, and then we're gonna enter the final page of the episode. But it's like so intense. Okay. Let's continue. So, like I was saying, Fells heals all of Bel's wounds using his power Diapanaeca. Bel thanks him, runs up. Yeah, we know this. We then follow Hestia Familia, which I'm surprised that, it feels like it's been a while since, we've seen, Hestia and Lily and Welf and, the boys, the homies, the homie G's. Been a while, but we see them. And we see them walking through Daedalus Street trying to find the enemy hideout. And we actually get to see a lot more of Daedalus Street because it's like, we've seen that it was complex in the past, like during the whole Monsterphilia situation, but we haven't really gotten a proper look at Daedalus Street and its complexity. And we got to see a little bit of it, like there was some overarching paths, and there was like overarching paths, there was like weird structures here and there. It's a very wacky area, from the scene that I saw. Like, the pathways aren't really straightened out, like, as they are, in some other places. So it's a very wacky area. Almost looks like a painting, if you will. But besides that, so yeah, they're walking through Daedalus Street. They're saying, it's complex, I can't find anything here, this is so difficult. When suddenly, they hear a boom. And a lot of folks, and I mean a lot of folks, just screaming, running away from what I believe is Ween. And turns out, I was right. Ween is screaming, like, is just going on a rampage on the surface. In this area, in this small area in Daedalus Street, in this small open area in Daedalus Street, Hestia Familia sees Ween. Well, I said sees the monster that Ween has become. After Haruhime realizes that Ween is that monster, the Familia is shocked as Ween roars in anger and confusion, coming after them, but they dodge her. Haruhime, confident, she stands in front of her. She stands in front of Ween, asking why has Ween, asking why, as Ween goes in to attack her, but is saved by Bel. And I'm like, oh, Bel coming up with the clutch. The Familia is surprised and happy to see him. That's all that's really there. The Familia is happy to see him. Bel tells them to stay back. Bel also, so this is like a part of the little monologue that he has in his mind real quick. So he says to himself, he wants to stop Wayne's rampage and tries to think up of a plan, when suddenly a spear is thrown straight in at Wayne's shoulder, backing her against the wall. And I'm like, fuck. Uh-oh. The citizens are excited, start cheering, and Bel notices the ones who threw the spear. He realizes the ones that threw the spear was more. Oh, no, not more. Okay, I'm gonna repeat this again. Bel notices the ones who threw the spear was none other than Loki Familia. And I'm like, fuck, uh-oh. And then I say, this is the end. This is the end. Isn't it the end? It's the end of Bel. Uh-oh. This is so bad. Loki Familia realizes that Bel is down there. Bet's pissed off. The Familia is stiff. Bella's surprised. Okay, so now this is where I gotta slow down a bit. Because I gotta really stretch this ending out, man. So, this is crazy. We have Ween and Belle and a bunch of citizens. We have Hestia Familia, and we have Loki Familia, and I think even Hermes and Achelos are still on that tower in the whole Daedalus area. So I'm sure they're even here watching it. We have all these folks here watching this. Probably even Oranos watching this. And they're all watching as Bella is, facing Ween, and Loki Familia watches him, waiting to see what he does, right? Lots of people are watching him. And I'm going to repeat that in a minute. But I want to say, let's continue on. Bella's surprised and anxious, more terrified than I'd seen him in forever. Like, seriously, he was super terrified. Finn tells his mans to take down Ween. Hestia Familia are also surprised. Bella's continued to be shocked and fearful of what they might do. Ea stares him down. This is the final bullet point. The final bullet point of every note for the season ever. Because I'm not doing this again. The words, "You're a hypocrite," from Dix run through Belle's mind as Ween tries to pull out the spear from her shoulder. A filthy bat runs through his mind. Belle looks down at the ground as he fears of what to do, and begins to say, let's lower this. I am. As Loki Familia stared at him intently, he says, I am. His breath getting heavier, an expression getting more terrified, fearful, scared. I am. Belle then begins to walk towards Ween. As Loki Familia, the citizens, Hestia Familia, maybe even Achelos and Hermes, Oranos, Fels even. History having its eyes on him. When suddenly he reaches Ween, he turns his back to her, raises his head as Ween continues to wail, and with truly despair-filled eyes, raises his arms, indicating to not come close to Ween. His eyes pulsing. Loki Familia confused. Hestia Familia shocked. Achelos excited. And Hermes standing with a disgusted face says, Belle, you truly are a fool. And I'm like, holy shit. As the outro plays and the title of the next episode reveals itself to be Belle Cornell, the Fool. Oh, isn't that exciting, folks? I mean, holy Lord. So yeah, history is repeating itself, in a way. So y'all remember Aragonoth? Remember how he was called the Clown? Well, now we got his ascendant, his homie, his familiar Belle Cornell, and now he's being called in the next episode the Fool. Holy Lord, I mean, the fact that Belle Cornell, the Fool, the episode has been available to watch for like 5 days, like 3 days, that I'm gonna be watching it later tonight. An episode titled Belle Cornell, the Fool. Holy Lord. Stuff is gonna get crazy. Stuff is going to get insane. He truly is a fool. Oh, I don't know, man. This really... So yeah. In public, to summarize, in public, in front of many a citizen, in front of Hestia Familia and Loki Familia, Hermes and Achelo's Familia gods, they witnessed Belle, little rookie, the adventurer rising up, a real challenger to the new age of adventurers. A real challenger, a real celebrity in Arario, if you will, is protecting a devious, malicious, rampaging monster. Disgusting monster. That is what all of them are seeing. That is what all of the people in that crowd are seeing and thinking. And they're also thinking, why? Why would he do that? What's up? Is this guy is crazy? Is he okay? Does he need help? They think he's crazy. They think he's insane. There's going to be protests. There's going to be a battle. There's going to be discussions. There's going to be questions asked. There's going to be people that are going to want Hestia Familiar. They're going to want Belle out of Arario. There's going to be people that are going to question him. His own friends, Ryu, Aisha, Sfi, Familia's questioning him. Aina, Seer, the hostesses, they're all going to be questioning him. Everyone's going to find out about this in a matter of minutes. Everyone's going to be questioning him. The orphanage, if that's brought up. The orphanage. Let me think. Uranos. Well, not Uranos. Who else? Just a lot of Aes, Loki Familia. So many people are going to be asking why, are going to be wondering why, are going to be pissed off. They're all going to react in different ways because of a single act of Belle Cornell. Because of that one scene, that single act, I believe, and it's shaping up to be the fall of Belle Cornell in Arario. Dude! Oh my god, this is getting so good. I'm so excited to watch episode 8 in an hour or so. I'm so hyped. Holy shit, folks. This is gonna be so much fun. Holy Lord. Okay. So, folks, let's end this episode off with doing Side Story 7. Are we going to see the reactions of the people? That'd be cool. While Belle and his party were engaged in a battle at Knossos, they were about to confront the beast. Oh! Oh, we get to see how they... Oh, they're seeing the remains. Yeah, dude, this is what happened. This is what the big Minotaur boy did. There he is. Is it really? Yep. We must run. thought the high-class adventurers that overcame tons of critical obstacles in the past. They determined what they've encountered was something they mustn't deal with. The black monster was a symbol of death. However, they weren't dead. The Ganesha Familia members were still breathing. Yep. Their allies were barely alive, and they had no option but to pick up their weapons. Damn. That really did happen, though. Asfi had the impulse to scream. Aisha was sweating, no longer treating the battle as entertainment. Ryu took a breath, and that was when the Black Minotaurs took a step forward. Shit, dude. Then they went ham. Is this how they fell really quickly? Because Ryu, like I said, Ryu was the last one standing in this battle. So, damn, they fought real hard, didn't they? Who fell first, though? Oh, none of them. Dude, this man's really do be strong. What the hell? A strike. After receiving a Sphee's oil burst, or burst oil, and getting slashed by Ryu and Aisha, the unharmed monster knocked down the Amazon with one hit. Damn! And that's powerful. Holy Lord. Wow. I think Andromeda's already down, man. Yep. Dude, I'm telling you, this episode is crazy with that battle. Oh my lord. Destruction, ravage, slaughter. The elf stood there as she watched two great fighters get slain before she could blink. While the monster was gazing emotionlessly, she prepared her weapon without saying a word. She did do that. She was to confront the enemy all on her own. Yep. Yep. Oh. Oh, this feeling. Oh. Been a while, The ending is unchanged. The hungry beast continues to seek for the strong, guided by the dream. The dream of beasts. Oh, dude, I'm so excited. So we have this to do. Oh, and it seems like, are we only going to have 9 episodes this season? Because we only have 9 stories, so are we only going to have 9 episodes this season? Because that'd suck if we're only going to have 9. I wonder if that's going to be the case. I wonder if that's going to be the case, or like this season is just going to be part 1. Is going to be, I don't know. I'm interested. I wonder, dude, I actually wonder if the next episode is the final episode. Uh-oh. That would be kind of crazy. Anyway, I imagine the only episode that I'm on time for is the final one. That'd be funny. If it is, that's really gonna suck, man. I'll have to look that up later. But for right now, folks, this has been my review, or part 2 of my review of episode 7. Season 3 of Is It Wrong to Try to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon 3. This has been your friendly neighborhood I'm a Finna Sleep, and I will see you guys in the 3rd part where we're going to review episode 8. That's right, folks, we still have another review, and it's going to be freestyle this time. No more looking at notes. It's going to be short, simple, and insane. So tune in for that, like at 2 in the morning. But until then, this has been and I will see y'all in the next part of this episode. So until then, arigatou gozaimasu for watching, and sayo. Not really bye, but just see you in a second, you know? Peace.
Peace.